Hello everyone. Today's fix is outside here on the front step. There's some crumbling mortar and I'm just going to remove it and replace it, and I'll show you how to do it. Here I have laid out on the garage floor everything that you're going to need and everything that I'm going to use to do this mortar repair. There's a bucket. That's a 4-pound sledge and a small chisel. It's about a 1/2 inch wide. Some knee pads. These come in handy. This is known as a pointing tool. I bought this at Home Depot, only $9 or $10, and it's very handy for getting into narrow spaces. This is designed for putting mortar in between bricks, and on the patio there, well, we have flagstones, so this comes in very handy. A trowel, again from Home Depot, was about $14. They come in various sizes and various prices. This board, which has a handle on it, is something you would use if you're doing drywall work, but I find it very handy for doing small mortaring jobs as well. And then I've just got a little piece of aluminum that I use sometimes. I'll put a little bit of mortar on there and sweep it into the joint off of that. And finally, a bag of mortar. This is a type S mortar, which is ideal for this kind of repair. This type S mortar, this is a 30 kilogram bag. It's about $15 at Home Depot. You should also be wearing safety glasses. The first part of this job is to remove the broken, crumbling mortar. And this breaks up pretty easy. The mortar is completely gone, so this shouldn't take too long at all. The mortar tends to crumble if it didn't cure properly or it wasn't the right mix, but also exposure to de-icing salt. It also aggravates this situation. These slabs, they're not set in concrete. These are just sitting on a bed of crushed limestone. As I'm chipping away, sometimes the stone shifts a bit, which is not a problem. Just make sure that you put it back where you want it before you start mortaring the joints. We're getting this cleaned up quickly. It's going to be a good day for mortaring because it's not going to be too hot. There's no rain in the forecast. It's ideal. Today's temperature is going to be around 24, 25 Celsius. Yeah, this is really weak mortar. I think the reason for this crumbling mortar was because this was too dry a mix. You don't want too dry a mix or too wet a mix. Generally speaking, you'll want the mortar to be about the thickness of your stones. Sometimes I just use this pointing tool for lifting out the debris. Just be careful because this isn't terribly strong. You don't want to crack it. You want to make sure that there's no dirt here where the new mortar is going to be meeting the old mortar, because if there is dirt, it won't stick. In order to improve the adhesion of the mortar to the stones and to the old mortar that's not going to be removed, is you can wet it. I'm just going to use a garden watering can. You can see this is what the mortar joint is going to look like when they're ready to start mortaring. It's clean and about the depth that corresponds to the thickness of the stone. I'm just going to mix some mortar up on this board. Just make a little a depression here for the water. Just start mixing it. You've got to be a little bit careful when you're mixing mortar on a flat surface like this, because obviously the water's going to try and run away, but you just add the water gradually and you'll be fine. It's still too dry. Just add a little more water. Now you can see I added a little too much water. I should have just sprinkled it in by hand from that little white cup, but that's okay. Just add a little more mortar, dry mortar to the mix, and work it in. This is still too wet. Just add a little more. Mix it thoroughly. What you really want to see when you have it on your trowel is that it doesn't fall off. So if it falls off, it's still a little too wet. So I'll just add a little bit more. But we're pretty close. See, now it's already, that small extra amount of dry mortar into the mix makes the difference. There, you see? The mortar stays on the trowel. That's what you want. Now, what I like to do, because I'm going to be working off of this board, I'll call it a mortar board for lack of a better word, I just like to flatten it out a bit. And just clean off the trowel. Just going to sprinkle a little water here. I'm going to use this pointing tool just to move the mortar Now when it comes to getting the mortar in here where you have an overhang, I'll just put the board underneath, scoop the material in. This batch of mortar that I mixed up is not going to be enough to do everything here. I'll have to make another batch, but it's all going to be made up in the same fashion. and just work the mortar in. And don't worry about if the mortar's a little bit proud of the stones, because once the mortar has begun to set and the surface is dry, then you can come back to it. You can remove any excess. And just carry on moving mortar into the joint. Pack it in gently. So you'll get this done in no time. But we're done. Just give it about 15 minutes here in the sun, and then I'll come back over it with the jointing tool. And I'll show you what that is in a moment. And now that we're done with the actual mortaring, it's important just to clean off the tools. You don't want the mortar to dry onto the tools. I mean, you could scrape it off, but it's easier to get it off when it's still fresh. And then dry the tools. You don't want them to get rusty. This is the jointing tool. And you just use this rounded surface just to smooth out the mortar, and you can see that it's also just allows me to remove the excess. So really just use the heel or draw it towards you, one or the other. You just sort of run the heel along the mortar line. I waited, maybe about 20 minutes or so because of the bright sunshine. I waited so that the mortar is dry enough that it doesn't really transfer to your finger. It'll be safe for traffic in about 24 hours. Well, that's it. Everything's done here. It's a job well done, I think. And we'll know later today how it looks, but I think it's going to look pretty good. Well, I'm Brian. Thank you for watching. This has been Brian's Everyday Fixes. I hope you'll enjoy this video. I hope if you like it, you'll give me the thumbs up. And I hope you'll subscribe. Bye now.